This seems to be a setup of some outfit that's doing a reality television show that wants to paint me, I guess, as some kind of a racist or something that they're going to post on social media. What's your name, sir?
Mike Smith.
Mike Smith?
Yeah, I think, you got it exactly right.
That's a problem, folks. CBC is now facing serious questions after multiple public figures allege they were secretly deceived and recorded as part of a taxpayer-funded activist prank show. What began as what was presented as legitimate interviews and consulting opportunities has now exploded into a national controversy involving fake identities, hidden agendas, and allegations that Canada's state-funded broadcaster is actively supporting the production of political propaganda. Let's take a look. So, ladies and gentlemen, we begin with Lindsay Shepherd. Lindsay Shepherd is fairly well known within conservative circles. She was actually involved in secretly recording a discipline meeting when she was working for one of the Canadian universities. And she was being disciplined just for showing her Class A video of Jordan Peterson and one of his talks. As a result of that, she ended up suing the university and went on to unintentionally become an advocate for free speech. So this is what she writes. I found out recently that I was deceived by social activists in an elaborate scheme dating back to January. A production group with what I now know has a fake name and fake identities gave me a friendly interview about my book, A Day with Sir John A. and about Sir John A. Macdonald back in February. They connected me with a fake company called Heritage Figures Canada with a fake website and quote-unquote hired me to perform consulting work for them. We had what I now know were fake meetings, fake documents, fake commercial shoot, fake prototype of a Sir John A. collectible. Then in a second film interview last week, they turned on me, and it was revealed to have all been a setup in order to demonize Sir John A. and smear me. It turns out this is a taxpayer-funded CBC and APTN project. There is so much more, I will make a video. They also deceived Francis Widdowson. Now, let's see the first screenshot that she shows here. So this is Lindsay attempting to validate that this is actually a production by CBC. And this is correspondence with Catherine Wolfgang, Director of PR. Hi, Lindsay. We can confirm that this project is an early production for CBC Entertainment and APTN. No details pertaining to exhibition are confirmed at this time. Please contact the independent producers with any further questions. And Lindsay goes on to post this. And this is a extract from a website, and this says Project Counting Coup by Northland Tales, company Northland Tales One Production, Inc. So the synopsis of this is the following. Northland Tales is an unscripted half-hour comedy series where an Indigenous activist trio uses pranks as a form of social action. With outrageous humor, they flip the script on modern and historical injustices against Indigenous peoples, offering a fresh, timely perspective on the prank genre, akin to shows like Borat and The Yes Men. Just so you know where Lindsay is getting this from, this is the website. So this is the Indigenous Screen Office. ISO allocates $6.3 million to Indigenous productions across Canada through the Story Fund production stream in 2024-2025, which this is one of them. Now it says, type, television series, documentary. It doesn't say satire, and it doesn't say comedy. So what exactly is going on here? Well, in order to answer that, maybe we let CBC tell you themselves, because if there's anyone that is more qualified to invest CBC, it surely wouldn't be CBC.
Former university professor Frances Widdowson took this live stream. She says she was targeted for her views on Canada's residential schools by a satirical prank show funded in part by CBC Entertainment, an arm of the public broadcaster.
Expose me.
For the CBC to participate in that
I think is disgraceful.
Widdowson says she was first approached in March and asked to be part of a docuseries.
It just seemed like a wonderful opportunity to go into many of the concerns that I have about the academic settings these days.
Widdowson's been vocal about her questioning of unmarked graves found at a residential school in Kamloops, BC, and was fired in 2021 from Mount Royal University. She says after about half an hour, 2 men walked in
and dumped a whole bunch of children's shoes on the coffee table in front of me.
Others on social media also say they've been approached or deceived with similar offers traced to the same production. CBC's head of public affairs confirmed that the show is in early production for CBC Entertainment and APTN, clarifying in a statement that CBC News and APTN News have no involvement in this production, and that satirical prank shows are a long-established television format used by broadcasters. But on social media, many are questioning whether public dollars should be spent for pranks targeting people for their political views. The show's producer, NLT1 Productions, also gets funding from the Indigenous Screen Office, which describes the series as having an Indigenous activist trio that uses pranks as a form of social action, akin to shows like Borat and The Yes Men. CBC News has reached out to 2 people listed as involved with the production, as well as APTN and the Indigenous Screen Office, but didn't hear back before the deadline. CBC's head of public affairs added that the show is still in production and it's premature to comment on it. Griffin Yeager, CBC News, Toronto.
So, ladies and gentlemen, CBC reaches out to folks with the production, but CBC also reaches out to CBC, but CBC tells CBC that they don't have any comment on it. It's CBC-ception, folks. But seriously, you just have to laugh at this point. You really do. You have CBC that is funding a show with the whole purpose of playing pranks on people with particular political views. Now, this whole thing is trying to be positioned of, oh, well, you know, it's like Borat or it's like Yes Men. Well, time out, folks. Last thing I checked was that Borat was not funded by the Canadian government, was not provided those funds by the Canadian taxpayer. Fairly low cursory search, can actually tell you that. So they're trying to say, well, this is normal. We've done these things like before. Candid Camera is a satire prank show. Okay, fine. When did you use Candid Camera to try to go after political opponents of the government? Because that's what this is. I've seen no liberals or people on the left or far left stand up and say, oh yeah, they tried to get me too. Hello? This seems pretty one-sided here. And if there's anybody that is feigning ignorance as to why this is a problem, then you're just being obtuse, in my humble opinion. Because it would be equally bad if the Conservatives were in power and CBC was doing this to their opponents as well. It would be equally as bad. And outrage would be equally justified. The CBC should be used to celebrate Canadian heritage, to put a microscope on Canadian issues that are otherwise ignored. The shows like The Littlest Hobo, Little House on the Prairie, things like that. They were able to produce those shows which were loved by millions of Canadians and leave the politics out of it. But they just can't help themselves. Now, in all fairness, let's be completely objective here. This is not a show that Rosemary Barton and David Cochrane and the rest of the folks in CBC News would have had any hand in. Let's just be absolutely clear on that. And this is coming from someone who has worked at a broadcaster, one of Canada's largest broadcasters. There are different types of shows, there are different production teams, and there are different production locations. So when you're talking about CBC Entertainment over here as one arm and CBC News over here, virtually nobody talks to each other. because they're all in their own little world and they're all in what feels like their own little company. But someone would have had to propose this show. Someone would have had to put together some sort of pilot, some sort of demo, some sort of presentation to the higher ups within CBC to actually approve this show. So you're talking about executives potentially within CBC Entertainment and the president of CBC Radio Canada, who is also president of CBC News. They're president of the entire apparatus. So I just want to make sure that that is completely clear. So when they say APTN News and CBC News is completely separate of this, that is factual. But the fact that CBC can't get more information from their own CBC people, that's laughable. I'm sorry. It is completely laughable, especially about something like this. Now, Lindsay had something else to post, and this is equally concerning. So she says, and this is the scary part. When I was signing the release form, one of the chatty producers was trying to distract me from reading it, but I obtained a copy, and they include a clause about using AI, so I can expect they will doctor the footage and create deepfakes. So what is she referring to? Well, here's part of the section here. It says, and this is obviously in conjunction of the use of AI, which is part of the release, and used in connection with project or its promotion, the participant understands and agrees that such uses, most likely uses of AI, may involve alteration of visual style, sequencing, pacing, juxtaposition, or contextual framing. That's a big problem when you're talking about shows like this, and expressly consents to such AI-assisted and digitally mediated uses subject to applicable law. The participant waives any right to inspect or approve the use of such tools or the resulting materials consistent with the producer's editorial discretion as set out in this agreement. So, aside from Lindsay's concerns about deepfakes, let's just put those to the side. What this essentially says in legal terms is the producer can use AI to change the visual style or to change the complete view of what the context of what is actually being shown actually is. And they can also use producer's discretion to use the footage and to use AI to change the footage in however they see fit. That's an issue when you're talking about docuseries and you're talking about these quote-unquote prank shows. It's akin to The Running Man. When, if you've ever seen that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, great movie by the way, where he's arrested for refusing to follow orders to shoot at a bunch of civilians. And then what a bunch of producers do is they take that footage and use AI and completely change it so it looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger is disobeying orders and then firing on civilians. This is the danger of this type of activity, and it being sponsored by a state-run broadcaster that gets funding by the Liberal government. You don't have to be a conservative or a Liberal to see how dangerous this type of activity is. Now, Frances Widdowson, who CBC was talking about, she did manage to take some footage, and we're going to show you a chunk of that so you can listen to what happens immediately when she sees that something is wrong and immediately flips the script on the people that were trying to flip the script on her.
What's this about? Tell me what this is about. Who are you? This is a pile of shoes that I believe two Aboriginal people came and dumped on the table. This seems to be a setup of some outfit that's doing a reality television show that wants to paint me, I guess, as some kind of a racist or something that they're going to post on social media. What's your name, sir?
Mike Smith.
Mike Smith?
Yeah, and I think yeah, you got it exactly right. You've defined it precise. Well, I wouldn't say exactly right. This is.
That's a problem, folks. And I noticed CBC News didn't put that part up there.
Social experiment.
Okay.
And it's on video. And I'm on video too. So we're on video together.
Yeah, we're on video together.
Yep. So I think that you figured it out, and now we can wrap it up.
Okay, but am I the target? Or you got other people, or are you just focusing on me?
No, you're not a target. No, you're participating.
Okay. What am I participating in?
This social experiment.
Okay, what is the social experiment?
You just experienced it. You could tell me.
You wanted to get me, Francis Widdowson, who is a known controversial figure. You wanted to get me to talk about my views in I guess, a candid way, which I told everything truthful. You brought two who are these Aboriginal? Were they Aboriginal? First of all, we don't know. I've met people who are Japanese, and I thought they were Aboriginal. So these are two Aboriginal people that you brought in?
I didn't bring Aboriginal people in now. I work for them.
You work for the Aboriginal. Who do you work for?
For them.
Who is them?
The Aboriginal people, Indigenous people that you're talking about. So yeah, so that's the deal.
So there's an Aboriginal group that hired you?
I'm a TV producer.
You're a TV producer who an Aboriginal organization hired?
Not an organization.
Some Aboriginal people? Not affiliated with any Aboriginal organization?
That's correct.
So just a couple of Aboriginal people hired this huge apparatus here. How many people are there here? There's like 10 people here. As a studio. How much did this cost?
Yeah, I think you know the answers actually because you're participating.
So you had to fly me. So I was flown from Calgary to here. I stayed the night in a hotel. Mm-hmm. There's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's at least 10 people that I can see in this room that are, and this is like wake up. So they're pretending it was a woke expose, and it's not. It's trying to. This seems to be trying to expose me, I guess. I'm quite amazed. I have been set up before. I guess I should have done more research about this, but still, I kind of take people at their word when they're doing this. Anyway, and this results in all these kinds of things. I was just set up by a person claiming to be a student at the University of Lethbridge. And of course, that backfired in a big way because I have nothing to hide. I'm an honest academic who is trying to understand Aboriginal, non-Aboriginal relations. And I got to have two Aboriginal people, I assume they're Aboriginal, come in and glare at me like I'm this evil person who, has no business talking about this matter. Are you from Canada? You're from Missouri. It comes out of Missouri, this program. You're in Missouri? Mm-hmm. Okay. So you're a producer for a Missouri company that does these kinds of setups.
Well done, CBC. Elbows up, Canada. Or are we elbows up now? Now we're deeper integration in Canada. I don't know where we are. You can't keep track with Mr. Carney and the Liberal government. But CBC has to go down to the United States and hire a U.S. production company to come up to Canada to film a Canadian television show. And it's admitted that they're trying to frame her as a racist. He didn't deny that at all. And from what we get from Dr. Widdowson there is, based on what she said, this was pitched as a anti-woke documentary, which she was asked to participate in and be a part of. And then the script flip is, here's a bunch of shoes. Now, you don't have to agree or disagree with what Lindsay Shepherd and Dr. Widdowson have even talked about. You don't have to agree or disagree. Like, that's actually irrelevant here. What is relevant is the fact that CBC is using taxpayer funds to fund political propaganda and political attack shows. No matter what side of the political aisle you are on, this should raise huge alarm bells when it comes to what is going on here. And if you are on the left and you're watching this, you should ask yourselves, what if the conservative government was in power and they were funding the state broadcast to produce shows whose sole intention was to attack their political opponents and influence public opinion? That's the only question you should be asking here. Is that right?